Okay, we're good. The meeting will come to order. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming. Enjoy the air conditioning. This is a meeting of Las Vegas. Wishful thinking, I guess. I don't know.
Kids think about
Lakeville
vacation.
Conservation Commission. Today is July 26th, and I'll introduce the members of the board. Nancy?
Nancy Yates.
Joe?
Joseph Chamberlain.
Mark Knox, Fred Frodema.
And I'm Bob Bouchard, and I'm chairman. Okay, let's get started.
Note the absences for the record.
Okay, we have Josh and John both gave prior notice. And let's see, what else? All right, let's get started then. First on the agenda is a continuation of 8 Paul Ave, which is a notice of intent. Before you get started, let me ask a few questions. We received the changes that you sent us.
Okay.
Are the changes to the project significant?
The changes just reflect what we discussed at our first hearing.
Okay. And the plan itself?
The plan itself, minor changes, just to reflect the comments we spoke
Okay.
about.
It's been our policy not to accept changes unless it's 10 days in advance. And so I'd like to hear from the commission whether or not we want to honor that or just vote to accept it.
I'd like to see what the changes are and what the significance might be.
But I don't think we can even look at it till we talk about whether we're gonna look at it or not.
I think I'd want to look at it.
I think Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
that the plan just came this morning. This is a volunteer board. People work or people are busy. And I don't want the first time you look at it is the night of the meeting. I did pick it up a little earlier, but I think we're really, really flexible all the time about accepting plans. But a plan that comes in the morning of the meeting, to me, is just not acceptable. So mine would be no.
And just for the record though, just to examine both sides, we did request these changes,
Right.
so give them some grace.
But I didn't think I thought it was gonna be another meeting. I thought it wasn't gonna be this meeting, it was gonna be the next meeting after. We continued it to this date, just so, to give them, just in case they were ready.
Well, I think we continued to this date.
Yes, we
With
did,
the chance that they would be ready, and we could have continued.
right.
And I'm sorry to cut you off.
No,
if I
it's
may.
fine. It's just my opinion. You can look at it.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay.
And I appreciate that. I think that we should vote to accept the plan for discussion tonight, even if it's not for approval, to give board members more time if they want it, but I still think that we should discuss this plan tonight.
Okay,
I tend to agree with that. If indeed the changes that he made are the changes we requested, then we sort of know what they are. Or we should know what they are, so in the context of trying to move things along and keep things going, I know that he probably has contractors waiting to go. I agree with Mark that we should hear them out.
And again, even if we don't vote to approve
Right.
tonight, I think we should vote to accept the plan for the record.
For the
And
record.
discuss it tonight. I think it would be counterproductive not to.
okay.
So on that, I would make the motion to accept the revised plan accepted on July 26, 2022 for 8 Paul Ave.
Second that motion.
Motion is second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 1. Motion carries. All right, looks like you're in luck.
All right, thank you very much. My name is David Santos with Prime Engineering. To go over the plan changes, which we just discussed, to 8 Paul Ave here. When we met the first time, we discussed taking the seawall and moving it away from the water's edge several feet. So we've done that. We've pulled the wall 2 feet off of the normal edge of water. And that plan has been, that change has been reflected on the plan here.
That's sheet 3, kind of shows the change.
Yes, shows the cross-section, shows the wall pulled away from the water there. It's shown on plan view on the first sheet as well, but we also updated that on the detail on sheet 3. We've also included a detail sheet, last page there, showing a filter curtain to mitigate any sediment that is kicked up during construction that's going into Long Pond. So that will be tied off at both ends of the property and extend out into the water. It's a floating filtration curtain, so the surface, it's going to be on the surface of the water and it will contour to the bottom of the water bed to prevent any sediment and turbidity going out into Long Pond during construction. So those are the major changes. We discussed those the first meeting, and those are really the only changes that we've made here. We've also gone through all the permitting and corrected the name issue as well.
Anything else?
That is everything.
That's everything. All right. So, do you have any questions?
Do we hear back from Natural Heritage? Joe? I mean, the green card, did they send you?
Oh,
I didn't.
Oh, Joe doesn't have the green card then?
I didn't say no.
They should have been sent over. I can have the office double check that as well.
Because they have 30 days to respond.
Yeah.
And you are working in the water?
Our proposed work is right outside of the water now.
Right.
So,
So you moved it back from the 57 as flood zone.
yeah.
Sorry, I didn't shut that off. I'm sorry.
But it still looks to me like it is in the flood zone. I did not have a chance to look at it.
Understood. And
Did you
so,
look at it?
briefly, if you look at sheet 3,
Yeah,
the cross-section of the wall shows that
Yeah.
they're 2 feet back from what would be the proposed water line. So it's not that it's out of the floodplain. They've moved it back 2 feet so that there is some dry ground, that, in theory, dry ground, that they would be working on. And again, I'm not speaking in defense of it, it's just I'm noting the change that was
Right.
made.
That is correct.
So the bulk of the
still-
wall and the fill would still be within the flood zone.
right. So the water line, is that like the high water mark or the low water mark?
It's a mean. It's what they call normal on Long Pond, yeah.
And my other question is about water going on other people's property. I noticed you didn't, pull it around on the ends.
Mhm.
It goes straight across. I mean, have you proven that you were not gonna put water on somebody else's property?
Because we're 2 feet off of the water line here, even during a flood situation, where Long Pond would be at a higher water level, the volume of water displaced by the wall would be almost incomprehensible as far as the entire lake is concerned. We have considered as well, actually we spoke about it on our first meeting here, what would happen to the existing riverstone and riprap. We would put that behind the wall to provide a void behind the wall with pore holes to allow any flood water to actually go beyond the wall and fill voids behind the wall.
and also drain out.
Correct, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
When would you expect to start?
That I actually do not know. I don't have that information.
Are you planning for low water, like
Yeah.
October?
Currently,
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
I spoke with your contractor on another issue, and the topic came up, and he said he'd like to see it done in August. No, I'm not holding him to that. That's just something he said in passing.
yeah, that's typically around a low water
Right.
time, so that'd be ideal.
Yeah.
But we've done that in the past, Mr. Chairman, is to actually say we want it done at low water.
As a condition, yeah.
It's getting pretty low now.
Right,
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I think
I wish John was here.
Member Yates brought up a good
You
point.
could tell us, yeah.
with the ends of the wall where you just end them, what do you do to stabilize the fill behind the walls to not flow out on the ends? Or would you consider returning the wall back in to, level grade with the top of wall?
That's something we didn't consider. We could consider turning those walls in to prevent any runoff or anything like that.
Probably provide a better condition for the owner.
Yeah. If not, it would come down with like the riprap or river stone as well there, so it's not soil.
Yeah, it would be nice to have John here to add his 2 cents.
Long Pond, our resident Long Pond expert.
Yes.
What's there now?
What's there now? It's existing, almost like a riprap, large stone, just berm going down to the
Okay.
water.
Seems to be improvement.
Most of our questions have been answered, but like I said, it would be nice to have some more eyes and ears,
Yeah.
especially since we had short notice. Well, the other questions, comments? Do we have any butters? No.
Saw a hand sticking up over there.
Yeah, I would be the contractor. that would
Oh,
be
okay,
installing the wall.
okay.
I've done it before in Freetown.
If you could actually, sir, could you come up to a microphone and just identify yourself for the record so that when the folks that keep minutes of the meeting, everything's.
My name is Gary Emerald. I'm with Greco Construction Corp. And I'm representing my client Sue Rivero,
comfortable,
who is
be
the landowner.
Yep.
I've done this before in Freetown, and same type of wall. And it goes very well. We sandbag everything off. And if you water, we do, to get that first block below the existing grade, at the pond. But once you get that block in, everything goes pretty smooth and simple.
Yeah.
So it's really not that, involved of a project. It seems like it is, but it really isn't.
You do, all your machinery will be up top.
Yep,
and
up
working
top.
down.
Yep.
Small excavator to move the blocks, they look pretty big.
Yeah, an excavator would, it just hooks them up from the top.
Yeah, because they make a loop to hook a chain with a hook
And
on.
you just, you drop them in, and the first block is like the hardest part. So you put like 6 inches of stone down, rake it level, set those blocks.
Compact.
And, every block after that, after the first block, the initial block goes pretty quick and easy. So,
I didn't mean to steal your thunder. I didn't realize that you'd come in. Am I correct in saying August was the ideal
yes,
time?
yes.
Okay.
In the detail on sheet 3 that we have in the plans here, it shows, we call it a 4-inch diameter weep hole, which I would assume would be either just a cord hole, or do you get those blocks drilled from the manufacturer
They'll drill them. Yeah, they'll core drill them at the manufacturer.
and just PVC pipe that runs along the back of the wall, you tee it out that, and
Correct.
that's a perforated or a fabric pipe to run, to accept the water to come out from behind the wall.
Correct, yep. There'll be stone all the way up.
Yeah.
So, the back of the block, all the way up to the top. So any water that comes over will filter through that stone into the pipe. And
And it is
goes-
perf pipe.
It's perforated pipe, yep.
What do you do with the stone that you remove?
Haul them out. Yep. I mean, we could put some in the back as fill, the smaller ones, but there's some big stones there that we would have to, hammer up and get them out of there, just too big.
And the smaller the stone, the better it compacts. Trying to get big ones is.
Right.
Tough.
There's some that are just, 4 or 5 cubic yards. They're too big. So, yeah,
What are those, 3,500 pounds?
at least,
At least, yeah.
if not more.
So this, to Mark, actually, this proposed fill behind this cross section right here is gonna be all stone?
I would say the proposed fill was gonna be gravel or something. The stone is about 16 inches, 18 inches deep with the filter fabric separating it. So you've got the retaining wall blocks,
Yep,
stone fill
yep,
with a filter fabric
With the filter
barrier,
fabric, yep.
and then that's gonna be kind of a gravel type material
Yep.
that would fill to bring you up to grade
to grade,
behind the stone, and then you topsoil that to seed it.
correct. Yep,
So glad you're here as well. To the question that I had proposed on Nancy's behalf of return the ends of the wall, is that something that you would kind of agree to, or?
Sure, yep.
Like, otherwise, how would you end the wall? I mean, I think you just
Well-
have to taper the grade down on the ends. And-
Yeah, on one side, there's like an existing dock or steps. So I think the intent is to butt into that.
Okay,
And we would, butt the stone.
so that would eliminate the washout, the grading
Yes.
issue.
Yep, we butt it right into it. And on the other side, we would probably have to return it,
Okay,
which is probably just a two, like one block. Because the blocks are 41 inches long.
right. Maybe in the top row it'd be 2 or 1.5. If that type. It looks like you're going up 4 feet.
Yeah, they make half blocks.
Are the capstones full blocks or half?
Capstones, I think, are 6 inches. The capstones are. They're optional too, but I think she wants a capstone.
Yeah, it shows them on the
Yeah.
description somewhere.
So it's a lot of fill. If that slope goes down like that, now it's not gonna be a slope anymore, it's just gonna be,
It's really not that much higher than the existing grade. It's probably,
The top of
the top of the wall, the
is the
capstone.
level of the lawn. Pretty much.
It's probably gonna be a little bit of fill, like maybe a foot. Just to reach, to get to the top of the cap. I have stakes out there with a string line, so it's easy to see.
oh, it's staked out?
Well, the grade is, yeah. Yep. Yeah, you can see the string line and how much fill it would require.
On average, how many truckloads per day would you anticipate? Not holding you to it.
Yeah, I don't know if they're coming in trailers or on a flatbed, but,
You talking about fill or blocks?
no,
Blocks.
blocks, he's talking about blocks, yeah. I don't know,
Hard to say.
I think, to get the first blocks in, you're probably looking at 3 days for that first block.
Oh,
That's the
okay.
hardest part.
And just to be clear, I mean, this is an existing residence. The lawn is currently seeded. The only disturbance is the actual installation of the wall.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you have an
Clearly,
unloading area, nothing's disturbed out there, that you can do all that. It's basically your traffic to get out there to do the work.
Yep.
And the actual area that the wall will
Right,
be
the-
built and filled behind.
Correct, 140 feet, yeah. I mean, we'll loam seed on the way out, and,
Yep.
if we do, it'll be the perfect time of year to do it.
So it'll have to do loam too then.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then that shows in the detail that they got like
Right, yeah,
4 inches of
see.
loam on top
Yeah.
of that.
Yeah. We'd be getting that right at the best time to seed. So,
Yeah, in September.
yep.
Seems like we should take advantage of so-called weather and get it done while we know we can.
The pond is pretty low right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just have concerns when somebody's actually working in the pond, that's why I would have like
Yeah,
Don
we-
to be here.
Yeah, we won't be in the pond, but
Well,
just.
because the water's so low, that's why you
Right,
won't be
right,
in the
but
pond.
we'll do everything from up top.
That base stone is going just on the edge of the water. It's not actually literally going into the water, right?
According to the plan, it's 2 feet back
Yeah,
from the
it's
edge of the
2
water.
feet back.
We've pulled it
2
back
feet
a
back from the edge of the water. Okay.
Yep.
And we're a little gun shy too, because we've run into a few projects where it did not work out so well, and machinery wound up in the pond.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen, not with me, no. the other thing is, you know, we do is we're gonna sandbag it too. So we'll
Yeah, I
sandbag
heard you
everything
mention that, yeah.
with poly. And so, you know,
So you're basically working in the dry.
correct. So we'll also be dewatering, you know, in the morning when we get there, we'll dewater if there's any water in, you know, in
Do
the trench where
you
we have to
show
work.
a dewatering hole or pit somewhere? If you have to do that?
We do not, but we can show a location. There's.
It wouldn't be very much anyway, right?
Well, we would kind of be, you know, aiming it towards, you know, the sandbags.
Yeah.
So that would kind of be, you know, act as a dewatering pit.
No,
Right, I guess my last thing is, that doesn't check, it says include proof of mailing to natural heritage, and he didn't even check it on the notice of intent.
And when you were here the first time, you had already sent out the notices to abutters,
Oh,
right?
correct, yes. Yeah.
Did we ever get the?
Green cards?
back?
As far as I know, you had received them, but, I mean, I can double check that.
Especially the one to natural heritage, because we won't be able to write order of conditions until 30 days from when you mailed it,
Yeah. Yeah, that was all done.
unless
prior
they
to the
answer
first-
earlier.
Yeah, yeah.
But, like I say, this isn't even checked on the notice of intent that you, says include proof of mailing.
I didn't get anything on my checkoff list. This is the original checkoff list, and I don't have anything checked off on this. The only thing I have noted is the variant spelling of Suzanne's last
Well,
name.
there was a mix-up with the mailing list, wasn't there, at first?
Just with the name, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, the name.
Do you have any proof of mailing with you?
No, not that I have with me.
Do we have any other abutters here?
No.
So we would definitely want to confirm the abutter notices, the receipt of. If you could show a dewatering location on the plan, just to make sure that you, just provide something so that we know you have the ability to do that. If you could show the end of the wall that you're going to return, whether it be the northernmost end or the southernmost end of the wall. On the opposite end of the wall, note the neighbor's stairs, just where you're going to tie in, so we know that it doesn't need to be returned. And then obviously anything we do would be pending the natural heritage approval. So I think based on that, we should move to continue this until our next hearing. You provide those couple of small changes, and Nancy, do you see anything else that you would have issue with?
No,
No, I'm satisfied.
We definitely want proof of mailing to all abutters also.
yeah.
Sure we get
Like I
those.
say, we've been burned with work in the pond like that before, so,
And then, just in case you don't come back for the next meeting, it should be just a formality at that point.
Okay.
In 2 weeks.
Chairman, yeah, I'll make note of that.
Yeah, Wednesday.
It would be August 9th when we meet again.
All right.
But prior to you starting work, Bob, who's the chairman, is also the agent.
Yep.
He'd want to be able to come out and just inspect
Okay.
what you provide for siltation barrier
Okay.
before you start, before the shovel hits the ground. We want to make
Okay.
sure that you have that
Yep.
in.
That's all right.
So are you satisfied with that? Move to continue
Yeah.
until August 9th at 7
Yeah.
PM. And I'm sorry, I don't remember your name,
David.
David.
Yep,
You
David
got all
Santos.
those minor changes that we want,
Yep.
okay. So I move to continue until August 9th at 7 PM.
Have a second?
Second.
second.
All in favor?
Yeah,
Motion carries. Okay.
All right, thanks for your time tonight.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda is notice of intent for Long Pond Associates. We have a public notice that I will read. Pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 131, the Wetlands Protection Act, Lakeville Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on July 26th at 7 p.m. at the Lakeville Police Station Conference Room, 323 Bedford Street, Lakeville, on a notice of intent. The applicant, Long Pond Association, is proposing the removal of the root of the non-native invasive variable leaved milfoil and fanwalk. Did I say that right?
Close enough.
Oh, not perfect. All right. From sections of Long Pond using an eco-harvester. All right. Good evening. Who's the speaker?
Come on up
So if
to-
anybody's representing the Long Pond Association, please come on up and state your name.
Martha Worley, Long Pond Association.
John Worley, Long Pond Association.
What do you do?
So you want to remove the weeds?
You want to
Yep.
remove the weeds.
Admirable, hey,
Yay, long over, 20 years
20 years
overdue.
overdue.
Mr. Chair, if I could. Nancy, I know you had some concerns about conditions on the notice of intent. You wanted to look at other towns that did
Well,
this
we-
with ponds rather, we
Right.
do it in Damascus, but the river was, I think you had a concern about it being a different environment. Did you find anything or would you like to?
We have, 3-4 pages from Natural Heritage. They have given us the conditions, so I don't have to worry
So
about
you're
writing.
good with that?
I was worried about writing the order of conditions. I wanted to see somebody else that had done it, another pond or something somewhere. But Natural Heritage just made it pretty clear the conditions they want, so all we really have to do is take theirs and put it on our
And
order of
they, and they were
conditions.
different, it's different from running water and still water.
I don't
The
know
big-
what they
the-
said for the Nemasket, I just
The big
know.
concern was in the Masket,
Masket.
it's moving all the time,
Well,
slowly.
not really.
Not really, slowly, but still moving, right?
And so, to be clear, I think the board, I can speak for the board on this. We want you to be able to remove the weeds. You guys have a limited time frame that you can do this within?
Yes.
That's coming up in the next month or so?
Yes.
And that's because of
The red-
turtles.
Red-bellied cooter
Red-bellied
or?
cooters, yeah.
Oh, the red belly cooter.
Yeah. Would you like to state anything for the record or?
No, we're just looking forward to getting started.
And we have the concerns we have on what are you gonna do with the weeds when they're out? How far away have they gotten? What's their final,
They're
And-
everywhere.
Yeah. What are we gonna do with them?
they compost them, burn them?
Eventually they'll be composted.
Compost them,
Yeah.
okay. Off-site, obviously. somewhere.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's outlined in the natural heritage
Heritage, great. Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Did you see that,
determination
Bob?
also.
I think did it just come today?
It
Yeah.
just came
Yeah.
back.
It didn't say specifically burn, it just said dispose.
Yeah, they're not going to
Yeah.
be burned.
They're not, okay.
No,
No.
as they de-water, and this is from the experience with the Nemasket River people, as they de-water
They shrink
and
a
sit
lot.
there, they
Yeah.
just shrink down to basically nothing.
Yeah.
And whatever is left there, you can actually use for mulch or
Yeah.
whatever you want.
You can harrow it right into a field or
Yeah.
something, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's been done successfully,
Yep.
okay.
Yeah, in fact, if you Google it, there's many uses for
I'm
the
sure.
weeds.
Do you have a motion?
Do I have the motion? Okay, I make a motion to close the hearing and issue, I can't say our standard order of conditions,
No,
but,
right.
the conditions forwarded to us through Natural Heritage onto the order of conditions and, good luck.
Second that.
Yeah.
Motion and second, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries.
Good to go.
Thank you.
You still got daylight, you can get started.
Good luck with the process.
Yeah, well,
And
Appreciate it.
be sure to let us
Thank
know
you.
ahead of time when you're gonna start,
Yes, sir.
because the start time is kind of variable depending upon equipment availability. and
We're
all that.
aiming for the week of August 8th.
yeah, we're gonna circle back with Serpide probably this week, and we're gonna come up with our timing
Okay,
and all of that.
We'll let you know.
I don't
Okay.
think it matters, I don't think.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good night.
Thank you. I didn't hear any objections, so I guess there are no abutters. Just for the sake of the record.
Everybody's really happy, and it's Churchill Shores area.
Yeah, Churchill
Yeah.
Shores is happy, yeah.
Get it done. All right, next, we have the return of Beech Tree Drive, continued discussion. We have a number of speakers. Who wants to go first?
So is that required, or is it just an update from us as to what we're doing based on our actions at the site visit?
I'm not even sure that we need anything at present. We were going to get some requests.
Well, we did get some requests from several abutters that they be heard.
Oh, okay.
I want to honor that.
Can I just,
Go ahead.
can you tell me about the site visit? I didn't make it.
No.
It was well attended. We had maybe, what, a dozen people?
Yep.
All right.
Wouldn't have been able for parking anyway. We filled up the street.
So, if you don't mind, Chairman, I'll
Go ahead.
give a brief update on, we viewed the site. Some of the abutters had some photos of, actually during the Great Flood of that location, which it was basically clear cut, no trees at all. It appears that the roadway water kind of gets drained off in a little stone riprap area
Yes, we saw
and
pictures of
there's
that.
some gravel was excavated out and placed behind that I think Bob had mentioned to one of the association members about getting that cleaned up.
Did you look
And-
at the actual property of the actual first part of this? Where
Well,
the-
so what we did was we required, and forgive me, Long Pond, I'm sorry, but there's two different associations. Huckleberry Knoll is the group that wants to clear a path, and we put the onus on them to prove that they have an easement to that property of some sort, right of way. So they were gonna prove that. I think Bob was gonna basically send a letter that was the synopsis of prove that, come back to us with the scope of work that you wanna do,
Yep,
and show us what you wanna do after you prove that you have the right.
okay.
And then I think there was, the only other thing was the minor cleanup of the gravel. Correct me if I'm wrong, or am I missing something, Mr. Chair?
There were a few things, just to back up a little bit. There was the letter that we sent out, which itemized a number of things to be completed by Mr. Nashawati, and they have been.
Well, that was his property itself, because I know.
That's what I was thought you're referring to.
No, it's the little parcel that we were looking at where the drainage runs off and the association wants to clear a path to the pond.
Right.
Where Mr. Nashwati was on the other side of the road. And that was a little convoluted because he kind of took over on the site visit to take care of his
Well,
own
we had like
business.
3 or 4 different interests
Yes.
running concurrently. That's what kind of makes it
Yeah.
Confusing for us.
But as
I
long
guess
as
I was
everyone was there.
interested in the original one with all the stuff in the well, and like the jet skis
Yeah.
and the
Well, that's-
cats.
that's what I
all been
was-
removed. He's supposed to
Okay.
come back into us. He actually, after we had the first site visit on Beech Tree Drive for the access to the pond work,
Yep,
we went and spoke with him. He wants to potentially alter some drainage and create an area that he can park some stuff in
okay.
that's designed for that. We told him that he's either gonna have to file an RDA or an NOI and come back to us with something like that. So that's kind of how that was left.
Yeah, it will help in one of the issues, which is parking. There are boats, jet skis and everything, and we would try and help them out in that respect.
How close to the frog pond is it? Joe, were you there?
Oh, it's very close.
Well, that's just it. We went
They-
through a
except-
lot years
go.
ago about that drainage there to correct it, so that,
Well, and the problem here now is that there's not enough water going down into the frog pond to bring it up to the level where it can go through the pipes to the pond.
well, because we're having a drought,
Yeah,
okay?
so it's.
But it's been like this for 3 or 4 years.
Now.
Easily.
Yeah. The thing is, some of that water, I mean, there's more water being displaced on the hill because of the building, paving and so forth that was done there. But now it's kind of some of it's still going down that stream, we'll call it a stream, into the frog pond, but a lot of it's going down the road. In fact, they have these temporary, what do you call the hump, little bumps, speed bumps,
Oh, yeah.
just the heavy
No,
rubber
yeah.
ones, not so much for cars, but to keep the water
water.
off the road and shift it off to the side, we can at least go into something that will absorb it.
So I think we're getting off track of the actual agenda item, I think would be the Beech Tree Drive clearing thing.
Okay,
I think that's what most of the folks here are, or present are here for, not Mr. Nashwati's
We'll hear from them.
thing. So, like I said, I think we should discuss both things, but while these folks are here, I think we should conclude the discussion on that property.
Okay.
Actually, there were a
Alright.
number of people that approached us at our meeting the other night that said they wanted to speak, but I don't see them here.
Would anybody like to speak based on, and if you do, come up and state your name?
Which one are we talking about?
Beech Tree Drive, the little property that
At the curb.
some folks wanted to clear a path to the pond.
Right. My name's Keith Weisfelder. I'm at 4 Beech Tree. I was here last meeting.
Yep.
I was supposed to be notified when you guys were coming down. I was highly disappointed that I was the only one not there.
Wonder how
I'll
that,
take responsibility for that. I thought he had been notified and
So it was a little disappointing to hear everybody's out there
where
giving their
is,
feedback.
where is 4?
It was right next to the land in between, what is that?
2 is the first one with the little,
Right, where there's no
Putting
house, it's
green.
just the land,
Okay,
right? And the last meeting, we were talking about, you know, what's the intent of this? I don't even think some of these people know where their property starts or ends. And we were saying, get that information so you can make a decision based on that.
this is what our chairman was saying. He said, before you can even do anything, let's make sure that you have a legal entity that can establish legal possession
Or use.
or use of that right
Right,
of way
and
or
then-
whatever piece of property.
Correct. And then with that use, you know, the things have changed, don't forget, since the flood zones changed.
Oh, yeah.
Like what I had to go through just to put my artificial grass, like we
Yeah,
talked
yeah,
about, I had to go to, what was that other party that you were talking about, that you needed the?
natural
That's
heritage.
That's right.
Yeah, I had to go through all that, and I wasn't even touching this land. This was just abutting it.
Yeah.
And, you know, my concerns, you know, have been for years, you know, first of all, when they decided to start clearing that land, that wasn't even that land, their land they were clearing. Where you guys were, where, that's probably why he's not here, he said that crushed stone ended up on his property. His property doesn't start for 8 to 10 feet into those woods that he was clearing away without permission the last time. So that's why I'm saying, until they even know where their property line starts or begins,
Yep, and that's the
I don't
first
want anything
requirement.
being done.
Right.
That's the
That's what
first
you said.
requirement we put on.
One of
Was-
us, yeah.
Proof.
Okay, we said, find a land use attorney.
Right, because if you just go on a map, and I know it's not dead accurate,
Right.
a big part of that area is the street, actually. If you actually went on the, you know, and laid the map over it, where they started clearing, there's a good amount of that is still the road. So who gives them permission to start clearing all that before they even get into their land to clear
I'd
more?
love to see a plan that showed the layout of the road.
Well, I
Zola?
got some pictures in my pocket, but again, it's not something that you would use as the court of law, but it would give you a good idea. And it allows you to map out how many feet from where,
Yeah.
you know, everything is. I took my time and did that. And I was, again, disappointed that there was already land cleared away that wasn't even theirs to
Right.
clear.
Does Folkman and Zola still own the road?
I have no idea,
yeah.
no
Because
idea.
that would be going back to up the road. I thought
Well,
Folkman and Zola still own that road.
what's your street address?
Oh, you're in Hickory Lane.
Yeah. So,
So there's a lot to be done before people start clearing, and
Yeah,
what are they
nothing's
allowed to clear?
As far as this board goes, nothing's been approved. The site visit wasn't to give permission for anything. It was for us to just put our eyes on it. And then, again, so just to be clear, when we left there, it was, if you guys want to do what you're proposing, first prove to us that you actually have the right, and then come to us with a plan for approval, not that's approved. So it would all come back here, you know.
And that's with engineering,
Yeah.
marking everything out.
Yeah,
Otherwise-
whatever it
otherwise
would be.
it's just hearsay. Well, this is one property line, no, it's someone else. We need something more definitive.
Right, and then, as far as the wetland end of it, is there gonna be a plan from anybody here or the?
Well, we don't
natural-
provide a plan, that would
Right,
come to
because
us.
what's, there's trees in there, what's the thickness that they can remove to be making this path? There's some work to be done there. But there's all trees and rocks in
If you look
the,
on the overhead, for a while, it's a walking path. If you look on Google Earth, you see a walking path, that's all it was.
but that, from where though?
If you could come up to this mic, just state your name, so for the record,
Yeah.
if you're speaking on behalf, we know who you are.
Eric Stanley, 1 Hickory Lane. So I don't know the guy's name, right across from you, on the corner there. He drives that white Escalade EXT type thing there.
Jeff?
Yeah. So he said the original entryway to that piece was down the little shack.
Yeah.
You look at your house, little cabin to the right?
The house to the right?
Yeah. He said the actual entryway for that original part, supposedly, I don't know if it's Huckleberry Shores or Knowles, owns past the telephone pole that's in there. And the original entryway was at that telephone pole someplace right in there.
Okay, so see there's
That's what he said.
here's one of my big
Yeah, that's what he
problems
said.
is when they first started clearing this, they're clearing from the front of the street where you guys were at all the way down with no permission from anybody.
Well, that's why we're saying, we gotta find out who owns what and where.
Right. Right, and then, at
Otherwise,
the end of the
this is
day,
gonna-
if, it is what it is, but, to just go in and start clearing land that's not even yours to make a path, what?
We'll run into the same situation.
Where is your land? What is,
Right.
and again, well, this is probably a separate subject, but if nobody pays taxes on the property for 12 years.
Yes,
well,
we know.
Yeah, there was a brief discussion about that.
Yeah.
Those are two different untied items, which is strange in itself to
Right.
be able to permit something like that, but
Yeah, so
It
that's
is-
another issue if they go to pull permits to be able to do what they.
Who do you
need to
even issue a permit to? What legal entity, right?
The homeowners association,
Who's doing the clearing?
Well, it was the
No,
guy
yeah,
last
Tom, I
week
think,
from
started
Tom,
And
yeah.
he's not even here.
He's on vacation.
he's away.
So-
He's the one who gave us the show
Yeah.
Yeah.
last time.
Okay.
But it's not a unique problem. These old roads around all the ponds, a lot of them are
New
private
Eng-
ways
New
and
England
stuff, and
maps,
they've
yeah.
changed. There was a rock there, so now the road goes
they
here.
drove over there.
Actually,
Yeah,
we have
and
three
so
of
now
these,
that's where the road goes, so.
we have three of these situations ongoing right now.
Yeah.
Simultaneously, almost identical.
So reality is, what we talked about, that's still the gist of the update that we've talked about, and now we're waiting for people to come back to us. So, not a lot got done other than we got to put our eyes on it and
Yeah, that
give
was
some
helpful.
direction of, if you want to do something, you got to come back with all this information for us, is how it was left.
And I-
My question is, what is the best way to get a hold of you guys? Because I've sent multiple emails with no response,
Well, you sent it to.
conservation email.
Yeah, part of the problem is we're part-time, and so there's just not always somebody that,
I
So-
totally understand that.
So can I recommend that you call the office to get Lori, at least to get somebody to talk to?
that's the best person to start
So-
with.
The wonderful girl that works in the office,
Yeah.
that's the secretary for Concom, Lori Canetti.
Okay,
So if you called, I'm sure it's the number on the town website for conservation,
I'm sure.
it
yeah.
would ring through to her, and she can get a verbal
Get to
message
me.
to Bob when he's
Yeah.
in the office to call you back, or get you the right email to contact somebody directly.
Okay,
So, does that work?
yep.
All right. I look forward to working with you guys. Go
What was the
ahead.
final decision on the, where the drainage was dug? Does that have to get cleaned up by Is it just left in the air? Who cleans it up? Or?
That was something I think you discussed with Mr. Lenz, Bob.
Yeah, what, I didn't,
So
It was the gravel pile behind the stones.
when they dug the trench, they just left all the dirt in there.
right, who's gonna,
Yeah, who's
yeah,
responsible? for
I
cleaning
think Mr. Lenz was volunteering to put together a group that was gonna handle it.
it up? Okay.
That was my understanding.
He usually does.
All right. I'd like to see a plan that says that.
Yeah, I'll talk to John.
Okay. Yeah, you guys need to talk more with each other.
Well, that there, I came home, that was done. I didn't
Yeah.
even know that was there until it was there, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So again, call the office and talk to Lori, and I don't know, probably starting the communication there to at least put you in touch with the right people and get the right email addresses. And then probably can get on a list for updates for what's going on with this as well.
Okay. Yeah, that's probably my biggest concern.
Yeah.
I was pretty furious last night that I heard that everybody's there and I didn't even get
Yeah,
notified.
that one.
You know, and I sent a text out saying, hey, here's my contact. Let me know when you're gonna be there. And I waited 2 weeks and then I'm at work in Randolph and everybody's there, so.
Yeah, I don't understand where that fell through, because I know I left a message. Maybe I just had the wrong phone number, but I know I contacted as many people as that I had on my list.
Yeah, I'm not gonna,
Yeah.
it was pretty clear, I sent my contact.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
But either way, I know that this is part-time and I respect that.
And we're all victims of mutant electrons.
So, yeah, appreciate your time.
And also, not to make more work for you, but just in case that happens again, check the agenda. The agenda for Concom gets posted usually on Friday by noon.
Friday the latest, yeah. We usually-
So if you see Beech Tree on the agenda, there's probably gonna be more discussion on it.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, that's the only way I'm gonna know, it really is.
No, I'm not saying that's the only way you're gonna know, but I'm
Just
just
one
saying
more-
if,
one
if
more.
for some reason, if an email
That's
went
my
to your
backup.
spam or it didn't get sent or for whatever reason, that's the belt and suspenders way to find out if it's on the agenda. I'm just trying to,
Yep,
that's all.
I appreciate it.
And I think, honestly, I haven't done it, but there's a way on the town website to sign up for emails. So if you wanted Conservation Commission emails, I think you can sign up and they'll come to you
Okay.
somehow on the town's website. Or for any board. for that matter.
I'll get the email that I'm sending, because if it's not going to anybody, we might want to take it off the site too. I'm not sure. I'll forward it to.
Well, one of the
email
problems
that-
we had is that Conservation Commission, Board of Health, and Building Department all got moved to another building. And the random electrons did their thing. It took, I can't imagine how many months it took to get that sorted out.
You're
And I
talking
suspect
about a server talking to a server.
astounding.
Yeah.
But, you know, my driveway lines up with Huckleberry Road.
Right.
Robbins
Robbins
Lane.
Lane.
So I can be
Yeah.
there in 30 seconds if need be, if you have a question.
Perfect. All right, thank you.
Thanks for coming in, guys.
Thank you.
Did anyone else want to speak? You're just here for the fun.
I guess I'm the only, are you leaving? Okay, I'm the only one left. Okay,
Time to air your grievances.
no, there are no grievances. I just have some questions.
Okay.
Okay. Carolyn Richard, 12 Beech Tree Drive and 20 Beech Tree Drive. Huckleberry Shores is quite the mishmash of messes,
It appears to be.
it appears. That's because there's two different associations, there's a lot of new houses. You know, from Robbins Lane down, there are 20 children under the age of probably 10. But anyway, here's my question, and this is in regards to 5 and 7 Beech Tree, which belongs to the Nashawatis.
5 is where the mom lives, and what's
No.
7?
No, the mom lives in 8.
Oh, okay. All right.
Right. The mom lives in 8. I used to own 10, and I own 12, and I live in 20.
Oh, you're making things tough for us.
I know, I know.
Did you bring a plan?
I do have paperwork. This is my question. How would I know if I were an abutter to 5 and 7, which is the wetlands across the street from 10 and 12, where the jet skis, the plows, and all those things were?
What you would do is you go to the Board of Assessors.
I made a phone call to them today, and that, I didn't really get an answer.
Phone calls, not highly
Go
recommended.
Well,
there and
the
they'll-
question is-
They just tickle a few keys and the computer will show within was it 100 feet? If you're a butter within 100 feet?
So, I think they're all
Probably like-
different because some stuff is for planning board 300 and 500 feet.
Yeah.
If it's a subdivision or if it's
Subdivision,
something
then it's
else.
the 100 feet, right?
So he advised me to look at my deed. And again, because it's a private road and public roads, and he was telling me how one side of the road, if it's a public road, it goes to the middle of the street.
Middle of the
but-
street.
Right, but with a private road, you don't really know where it goes and.
And
So-
sometimes a separate group owns the entire road.
Right. So I'm trying to be proactive in knowing if, what is it, an RGA is gonna be asked for? Because I know originally when the land was bought by the Nashawatis, they were told they could not build there because there were wetlands. They couldn't park anything there. I do have a map because I have a septic plan for number 12 that now has to be resubmitted because I never had it done because it was so difficult for me to do number 10. Number 10 is done.
They should be able to give you I don't understand the abutters part, why they can't give,
That should
Well,
be,
I'm just trying to,
you could do it backwards. You could ask who,
Who's your abutter?
yeah.
I mean, I know who's next to me here and here and here and here, and Long Pond is on the other side, but when it comes to the street side,
Within 100 feet, so that should all be, you should be abutting those on the other side of the
So-
street.
Question through you, Mr. Chair, to Joe and Nancy. If an abutters list gets sent out, or abutter notifications get sent out for a filing, is it within 100 feet?
I
Yes.
believe it's 100
Yeah,
feet.
It is 100 feet.
100 feet.
So
But an
property within
RDA
100 feet of the subject property, either through direct contact or 100 feet from any part of the lot line, should constitute an abutter notification, which may not be an abutter withstanding. So there's legal standing and then there's an abutter within distance. The legal standing would be the direct contact of the property.
okay.
But you'd be still notified if you're within 100 feet, based on the criteria of how an abutters list is made.
But not with an RDA.
This is the abutters list for one of our first hearing.
Okay,
There's 10 names here.
right,
And this is on small pieces of land, 8 Paul Avenue.
okay, so
And,
it's,
and you get also, City of Taunton Water Department, because
They-
they're in a butter. It could be New Bedford Waterworks, a butter. I mean,
and
even
so where did you get that, a butters list?
The engineer
Right here.
provides it.
The
engineer provides it.
Okay,
But you go
Here
to
it
the
is.
assessor's
It's
office.
assessor's office, 100-foot abutters list
Yeah.
is what it's
Okay.
called.
okay,
And what you just said, subject property, you give them your address, your parcel number,
okay,
You're entitled to this.
and then
information.
correct.
you get it.
I mean,
But if someone files an RDA, we don't require a butter notification. It's only on a notice of
And-
intent.
I leave the state, I go back to Florida, so I'm not here for 8 months.
Does your mail get forwarded?
It does. It's a little better in Massachusetts with that. Florida is a little sketchy
How's it work with a
sometimes.
green card?
But,
We gotta sign
Do you have
for
an
it.
attorney who handles all your environmental affairs?
I do.
Good.
Are you thinking I need an attorney?
Just looking at the,
Yeah, who
Numerous.
caretakes the property?
Who,
Who's the caretaker? I mean, someone has to look after the house while you're gone.
no, well, my nephew,
Okay, where's he live?
He lives in Freetown?
Close enough.
Okay.
I mean, who?
So what are you saying? That,
Well, there should be someone, like on a weekly basis, collecting mail or notices or so, or someone who's
Looking out.
identified.
Somebody shuts
as-
off her mail.
Looking out for your
Right.
interests, that's
Yeah.
all.
right.
But a notification comes by green card, which you'd have to sign
Somebody has to
for,
sign
so
for.
that's, to
But
try to answer her question,
don't
how would
forget-
she get it?
Don't forget now that literally you do not have to sign as long as there's proof of mailing. All it takes is the white sheets now.
Yeah, but that doesn't help her.
Doesn't help her,
'cause
I know.
it
It
proves
doesn't-
whoever
So
sent
you
it,
would
but
just-
she didn't get it.
You were just saying something to Keith about being notified from conservation through email.
So what I was saying was, you can sign up to get notifications from the town
Okay,
for like the agenda, for any things that are posted on the town website. I believe there's somewhere you can sign up for that to get email updates.
okay, okay.
You can get the, if you go on a town website, you can ask them to send you, they'll send you monthly the agenda for whoever you want,
Okay,
and they'll send you the minutes. of every
obviously,
meeting.
it's not gonna help me unless I get a plane ticket and fly back home, because something is, I mean,
So you had
But
mentioned that
you-
you have
but-
you have information, or is it just memorialized information of them being told when they purchased a property they couldn't build there? Or,
I was told by, Mrs. Nashawati, Donna, because I live next door to her.
yeah,
And she said when they bought the land in 2009, it was with the intention to make it a parking area, okay? And they were told they could not do it.
Now, we hear that a lot. We hear it both directions. We were told that you could do this. We were told you could not do this, unless we see something in writing.
So
Okay,
what is
because
it-
people, when people buy land, very often they're told that they can do certain things
Yeah.
that they really can't do with the land.
Usually
And I
from
understand that,
real
especially
estate
down
agents.
there,
Yeah.
especially down there with the lots and, but my whole thing is, because I own 10 and 12, and my plan was to do 2 septic systems. We did one, okay? And you can imagine the cost of that, okay?
I know.
He's the builder, he knows.
I needed a 3-foot variance from
To get
his
within the
well.
lot line, or for the well, yeah.
From
well
his
radiuses.
well. And no, I had to have the engineer redraw the plans. So, and then because across the street, it got a little muddy and the board said we had to reseed it. We reseeded it. So I paid for the engineer to redraw, move the system. I paid to reseed the grass, okay?
Yeah.
I paid to survey part of my lot because my shed was on his, it's
But
just,
It
it has nothing to do with
any
this
town,
board.
any town around that has such small lots as that has to get wells and
I
septic
understand
fields,
that.
we understand, it's so tight, so
I-
hard to do. So many variances are required.
But what I'm saying to you is, I paid to do all the things I needed to do
Correctly.
correctly. Correctly. And now, I actually have the septic plans for number 12 in my bag, and it shows the 100 feet across the street, and it is marked wetlands. So,
Now, who marked it wetlands? The engineer that drew the plan?
Jamie Bissonette.
Jamie just that, okay. Okay.
Jamie Bissonette.
Then Bill.
It is wetlands across the street.
It is wetlands
Yeah, no,
across the
it's-
street.
I got the same plan
We
from
saw
my
the
mother
flags.
owned a
We
house
saw
on
the
Cedarwood.
wetland
As a matter of fact, I was going
I
down.
mean, right now, there's no water because,
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't
Doesn't
matter.
have to be water.
It's hydric plants. In fact, I pulled a couple of sedges there,
Right.
obligatory wetland plant growing there.
My opinion, Mr. Chairman, is if anything happens on the other side of that road, it's wetlands and it needs a notice of intent,
Yep.
not an RDA, because to have any kind of parking or anything over there, there would have to be fill. And if you fill in wetlands, you need a notice of intent.
The owner wanted to put in drainage I guess there was a pipe or something there, I don't know, maybe.
There was a riprap swale.
Rip swale, yeah. But then leading to.
The frog pond.
Frog pond, right, which I don't think it
That
goes
frog,
to down.
well, you weren't around during the whole frog pond episode.
Well,
I was here for some of them.
Oh, okay, all right.
the frog pond does drain because I maintained it. I
Once
was
it fills
cutting
up
this-
enough,
Well, no, you have those three big pipes,
the three big pipes.
but underneath those three big pipes is that
The original
smaller
old
pipe,
ones,
is
right.
the original
Old
one.
ones, and that
And-
drains into that swale, right?
Correct.
Right.
And I make sure that that pipe is cleared so the water can drain.
Because you're a good
And there's
person.
actually a little swale inside that tall grass with rocks, and I used to maintain that, but I don't do that anymore because I was told not to, so.
But I think one of the reasons
But-
why that frog pond now is basically nothing but, soil in there now.
Right,
Because, again, it's been so dry. That shows those old pipes that are doing the job. The big pipes are there for when we get the monstrous rains,
And
Or
it works.
lack of maintenance.
or lack of maintenance, yeah.
and it
And-
works. When we
Yeah.
get a lot of rain, that whole swale is full.
Full, yep, I've seen it
Full,
that way,
and it drains
absolutely.
all the way down.
Down to the
That's
pond.
runoff from Hickory.
and-
Yes,
Oh,
yeah,
it's,
well, the whole hill.
yeah.
That whole
The
hill.
whole hill,
whole
the
hill.
whole hill. It's quite a bit, but I'm just trying to educate myself and it's a small lot. They're all small lots. And the thing is, when you move there, it's a small lot. It's almost like saying, what day is Christmas? It's December 25th. It's a small lot. So.
Yeah.
And it only fits so much.
And it only fits so much. So when I moved there, I had to get rid of tons of stuff because it's a small lot. But I will make a trip to the assessor's office,
Okay,
and I don't want to get a lawyer,
no.
How
Well,
many
let's say
people
you
really
have
want to get lawyers?
Yeah,
Do you have access to,
I do.
have you gone onto the town website under the assessors, the GIS mapping?
I have,
You can get everybody's
I have.
name and address. where
Not
they
anymore.
live.
no.
It's offline right
It's offline
now.
now, yeah.
well, you know
When
where
was it
our,
offline? I was on it just the other day.
Yeah, so was I.
I just don't
Get
want to
in.
come back from Florida and
I
have,
want you to look at that.
understood.
This is what I was telling you. This
okay,
is the thing, it comes straight from the assessor. You look at your tax bill, and it gives those three numbers,
okay.
and whatever.
Not those three
are.
exact.
No, not those three exact,
No,
no.
but you're,
And it'll
But you
print
can
it right
have-
out.
But you're
Joe.
telling me if I go there to the assessor's office and ask for an abutters list,
That's for Norman.
For any property, for any property. If you want to, you don't have to ask from your property, from any property in
A
town.
100-foot.
100
100
foot.
okay,
I don't even think they charge you for it, do they?
Yeah, if you have a print.
okay.
They charge
They
you
used to.
25 cents or a buck.
For certification, if you want it certified.
But,
If you want it certified. But you can use
Yeah.
any address in town and get a butters list within 100 feet.
like I said, I just don't want to come back and,
Surprise.
right. And the lesson is because when we did the septic plan, I was in Florida. And my son had to go to the meetings, and they weren't pretty with the Board of Health.
No,
They weren't pretty. And so, that's the lesson you learn. And so now that's my experience. So,
well, you know where to find us now.
I
You've been
do
to the
know where to
office.
find you. I know where to find all of you. I do. Okay,
Well, we appreciate you coming in.
thank you very
And
much for listening, and you guys have a great night.
You as well, thank you.
Okay, take care.
I just said, yeah, all of a sudden it's not there.
Right, I could have told you that. I went on the other day and I couldn't, and we're off the state list. Because I had called in, there's some problems, because I called Norman, there's some problems, whatever.
Oh.
But I went to the state list on division and went off of there too.
And
Maybe we're not here.
Well, I was asking if we paid our bill.
I think we're back, you say we're back on now or off?
No, he just tried it.
Yeah,
tried it?
I just
No.
tried it now, it's not
No,
there.
it's not. It's been about a week or more.
Not only that, my piece of property, which is 78 acres, I actually have divided up into 4 parcels. And 2 of the 4 parcels have changed size slightly because of the new way of doing it compared to the old way of doing it. You know, we're talking like, you know, one section went from 10.07 acres to 10.07 or 09 or something like that. And I asked Norman about that, and he says they use different mathematical formulas or something. Anyway, we got minutes to do now, do we?
We have two
That won't
sets.
work for people who have 1.61 acres.
Yeah. I know.
We have a set of minutes from May 3rd.
Okay, I looked them over.
Uh-oh, he's got a list.
Just minor things,
Okay.
minor things.
This was a remote meeting.
The May 3rd one. Remember Knox said that the town planner had done a few developments in Foxborough. I want to replace had done with had overseen, because that makes it sound like our town planner was
Did the work.
actually
The
doing
developer.
the work, was doing the developer. Now we know, but years down the line or 2 years from now, who knows? And then on the same meeting, from the lady sitting to my immediate left, if it were a conservation restriction, that takes an act of Congress to break. I suggest to get rid of act of Congress, because we know.
Act of the legislature.
We know it's an expression, but convert it to act of the
Of the
legislature.
legislature.
Act of legislature. And I'll get hold of Laurie and make that one change. I told her I was gonna have to reword it.
Two changes?
This shows two changes and that's it, so,
So, a
Motion.
motion to approve the May 3rd minutes with the changes as noted?
Second.
All in favor?
I,
Aye.
we have to do the ones for the 24th. There was one tiny little error. I had said something about, was there ever a 21E? And it came typed out as every instead of ever, so again, mutant electrons.
Was
I
there
already-
every?
Yeah, I already checked it, changed that with Laurie. So
Okay.
that was the minutes of May 24th.
So,
Okay.
you made that change, I see it corrected here.
Already changed, it's corrected, yep.
Was that the only issue?
Yep,
So I move to approve the May 24th minutes as drafted.
second.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
I
Aye.
was absent, so I don't.
One other thing to
You don't
do,
care.
and this was because something I saw today, I was driving through the industrial park from the dump. And I know we've been having some problems with worker cars or workers parking their cars on the grass alongside the road. And there were 34 cars parked there today. In
From
fact,
which,
This is across from 310 Kenneth Welch in the industrial park, along the edge of the road where the wetlands are.
Yep,
310 Kenneth Welch, across, like from the
The
box?
old Thompson paper box.
Old
Okay,
Thompson, yeah.
okay,
I'm
that's
sorry, I
better.
missed, what about it? What's this?
well, first they started parking nose to nose.
Yeah.
Now they're parking diagonally to get more in, and I know that on planning board, this is a topic that's been coming up on a regular basis.
So Joe had actually stopped in my office. I wasn't there, and then he emailed me. So if I could, Mr. Chair, I wanted to talk a little bit about this tonight under new business.
Yeah.
On Thursday, the planning board and the zoning board of appeals have a joint meeting to discuss this property because it's back in front of us for the fourth site plan review in like 2.5 years. The occupants of the property continue to expand their business. What's coming in front of us now is a proposed parking expansion on the northern, or I guess that would be the northwest corner, across from Tracy Import's end of the building,
Okay,
and the cranberry bogs, in toward the railway bed. They're gonna add a bunch of parking there. We've actually asked the town planner to send a memo to the Board of Selectmen requesting no parking signs be put up along the side of the road there. We have not got a response to that one. That was fairly recent, but I'm gonna say it was probably 2 meetings ago, but we haven't heard back on that one. Haven't heard any discussion on that on the Board of Selectmen meetings. It was, there was actually an accident in front of that,
oh,
and the entrance closer to the Todrin end of the building. And one of the police officers came into my building to talk briefly about it, because he knew that at that time, a different site plan review was in front of us for the same subject property. We talked to him about, and I may have actually circled back with Chief Perkins, and I don't want to state that as definitive. It's just, there's been so much discussion on it, I don't remember everybody actually and what they perfectly said. However, I think the officer that was responding to the accident, and we had discussed possible ticketing, and they just were kind of like, we're strapped. We don't have the ability to ticket cars for that. It's not high. I don't want to say that they didn't say it wasn't important, but it wasn't something that they could send a meter maid through, so to speak, to deal with little minor parking issues like that. So because we have it coming in front of us, I guess I would request that, based on a majority of the board's opinion, that the Conservation Commission send a letter regarding this parking that, and I know I've talked about it with Joe several times, that the heat of the cars, because the occupants go out and run their cars, turn their air conditioner on, sit in them for a half-hour lunch. It's not that there's dead grass now, it's that there's no grass.
There's no grass.
And you're talking about, on that side of the road, you're probably within 50 feet of the wetlands.
And 8 million cigarette butts, because they're out there in cigarette breaks.
And whatever leaks out,
And whatever-
water leaks out of your condenser, your
Yeah,
air conditioner's going, or whatever, oil leaks out of
Yeah.
your, whatever.
So I, if it's not too much trouble, I would recommend that the Conservation Commission send a letter stating their displeasure of the off-site parking or the street parking, that it needs to be addressed
Send it
somehow.
to who?
Well,
The planner?
the thing
Send it to the
is,
planning board.
they're parking for free on town property, is what it
Correct.
comes down to.
Yep.
We own,
They're damaging it.
they're damaging it.
Is
And
it,
it
it's
started
town
out
property?
a little
Yeah.
bit,
Okay.
and now it's 34 cars there today.
Yep.
As I said, now they're starting to angle in, so more of them can fit in. I can't imagine what would happen come wintertime, when they have to plow that street, what a mess it
So
would be.
we've heard that, we've made an agreement with this guy or that guy that we're gonna be able to park there and
Yeah.
they'll shuttle. But as soon as there's no snowbanks, they're back there.
They're back.
So it's been a fight that we've been fighting, but we don't know how else to deal with it. But
Unless
I
the
think,
town is willing to enforce this, it's gonna continue.
yeah. And it's unfortunate. The planning board's bound by the rules that are set. And one of the requirements for parking is, it's based on a warehouse use. However, that's turned into almost more of like an office or manufacturing use. And again, they are trying to make an improvement and add, I think they'll end up with 120 plus spaces when they're done.
What do they have now?
I think the east end of the building has 67 or 68 spaces, and the northwest end of the building, probably they painted 20 spaces. So they're at probably 80.
I knew people who worked I knew the guy that ran the paper box company, made the game boards and all that. And they had a lot of people working in that factory, but they never had a problem parking. How many people do we have working in those buildings?
Part of the problem is they seem to be working on the buildings in perpetuity. So for all I know, they have 25 employees each, but they have 100 workers there every day. So I don't know if once the actual construction work is concluded, if they'll have enough parking. That's the challenge that we face, is each end of the building has been worked on almost in perpetuity for 2.5 years.
So, they're doing damage to town property. Why isn't it as easy as a no trespass?
Yeah, why put up no parking signs, and then the police can ticket the cars?
But again,
I don't think
Mark
they've got-
spoke to the cops about ticketing.
Well, if there's no parking signs, then they can ticket.
They can ticket anyway.
What's the violation?
Well, think of the expense of
No trespass
and
would be
get-
better than no parking.
Well,
Well, think back.
Wait,
Think back when Emery was here, and we were revising we were anticipating the bylaw and the such. There was a plan, do you remember, for us to start ticketing? And we argued for the longest time about whose responsibility it would be, who would be the enforcer, how much would it be?
on
and
what
it just-
property? This same property?
On town property,
On town property.
and it just kind of died from lack of interest. In the past, Mark,
So one of the other issues that we've faced, to me, it's a smaller hurdle, but still needs to be addressed, but it hasn't been, is it's the cost of who's gonna pay to put up these signs.
Signs, right.
sure.
And I keep being told that because it's not on their property, we can't force the applicants to do that.
Oh, no, we couldn't. No, but it's not their property.
But now the town has to incur that cost at the town's expense. If the town wants it on their property. If we don't want the cars to park on the town property.
And we would be making money off the tickets. You know, we don't want to be anti-business or anything, but I mean,
That's how it's gonna come across.
it's coming, you know, they're
So,
trespassing on town property and harming it. And I had, one of the notes I read to myself, and in fact, I responded to you, was whether or not we actually have jurisdiction, because depending upon how far away the wetland is. And some of the places they're parking, I mean, you can look and you see, that's almost hydric soil they're parking on there.
It's close.
Yeah.
So, you know, I would appreciate if the Conservation Commission agreed to send a letter to the planning board and or the zoning board of appeals, or both, because we're having a joint meeting that will be
Right,
meeting
you're both meeting on
at 7 PM on Thursday regarding this
28th,
property,
right.
because this applicant is looking for zoning relief to have 3% more lot coverage than the 70% that's allowed to achieve this parking plan. There are some other factors in that, you know, some members may not agree with giving them the 3% because of things that they've voluntarily covered parking spaces with other things. That maybe didn't need to happen.
And, you know, one of my concerns about big developments, and I always ask this question, is where are you gonna put the snow? And again, the problem you have, it's either being shoved off into a wetland area somewhere, or it's being piled along someplace, and it always decreases the number of parking spaces. So now we're even worse off than we were before. And of course, if there's snowbanks over there, where are these people parking? Where are they gonna be able to park? In the street? With tractor trailers coming through?
Right.
I know how many people, I mean, I go to the dump at least once a week and cut through there sometimes. There's a lot of traffic on that road.
Yeah, it can be busy at times.
They can be busy at times.
So what's it gonna say?
It's-
Continued, impact on this area could eventually impact the actual wetland. It's only the buffer zone, but continued impact, and kind of a slope,
It kind of drops off a little bit.
Goes down to the wetlands.
Goes down to the
continued
wetlands.
impact, you know, notice negative impact, and this continued negative impact is eventually gonna impact the wetland.
And
So I would say that the letter say something to the tone of, it's been brought to the Conservation Commission's attention that the off-street parking on town property
it's having a detrimental
has
effect.
detrimental effects close to the wetlands, and we recommend that all boards that have any jurisdiction over this make best efforts to mitigate or stop this parking on town property.
that was fair.
Yeah. Can you get that done tomorrow, Bob?
Sure, I'll stay up tonight.
I'm sure you sit down with, you'll be in the office tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a specific
Are
address?
you putting that
Are
in
they
the
gonna
motion?
know what they mean?
You should put that in the motion.
Is there an address? Are they gonna know what?
I move that the Conservation Commission send a letter to the Planning Board and Zoning Board of Appeals regarding the off-site parking on town property across from 310 Kenneth Welch,
Okay.
to request that the off-site parking be stopped.
Okay.
If Kenny Welch were alive today, he'd take care of it.
Actually, we sent a letter to Kenneth Welch a couple of years ago about parking when we did site plan review.
Was it for that same spot, or
It was 310. I'm
was
pretty
it
sure.
310?
We have a motion.
I'll second
Oh,
that.
okay.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
I know Ken.
Now you got some work to do.
Well,
Oh, you probably
Oh,
know
thanks.
better than me.
yeah.
Tommy worked with Dana. Dana got.
Dana, who's died young, right?
Does that conclude our official business tonight, sir?
Quickie, among the many phone calls I got today with my usual share of weirdos, two in particular were interesting. One of them was from EPA. And as I think about it, this is the second time they've called. They were interested in 149 Bedford Street. Why, is it a construction site? Are we in favor of it? Are we concerned about wetlands? And did you do any permit review? I said, yeah, we issued a notice of intent and we went through the whole process. There was a holdup, right?
Where is that?
149 Bedford
The
Street.
building that they tore down on the corner opposite Russo's.
The Maxi's over there.
Erickson's old house.
Okay, Erickson's old house, okay.
So it's back in play. And that's what I told them. They didn't seem satisfied. So I gave her as much detail as
I didn't think we did an NOI because the wetlands were off-site.
It's the drainage.
It's the drainage,
It's the drainage.
drainage ditch. But you know, it's funny, work seems to have stopped there for the past 4 or 5 days. But what I've noticed, because they were going great guns
A
there.
couple of
for a
weeks ago,
while.
they started over again, and
Yeah.
I don't remember an NOI.
I don't think we did one. I know Jamie
think
came
we
in
did
front of us for the site plan at planning board, and I thought he may have talked to you about it because the wetlands were quite a ways off the property.
I would have sworn.
We did an RDA on those wetlands a long time ago when I was the agent, but I don't think it ever went through. It was filed. I had the packet, but it never really came before us.
I'll check, either way, I'll check on it tomorrow. But
Everybody says it's all wet there, but that's drainage off the
It's
street.
just-
You're
just
right,
the
the
pipe.
wetlands are off the.
Right.
Yeah.
which led me to think maybe they've got the wrong site. Maybe they mean across the street where our friend 160
Yeah.
Bedford Street, which is
The proposed-
significant, and it looks like it's a construction site.
Yeah.
I mean,
Where?
The old train depot?
from Train Depot.
Oh.
They're putting in the
gosh.
septic system now,
Right.
so I need to
They
get
did a
back.
nice job with that building though, didn't they? The old train depot. They made that look nice.
But we got a lot of complaints from one of the neighbors on that for years over there.
Well, I think that's
One
what
neighbor.
stimulated this
Yeah,
woman's
yeah, yeah.
call. But
So that was just one of your calls. What about the
That's-
other one?
the other, well, Clark Shores, our usual quota. And a couple others, not so bad.
The smaller the piece of property,
So-
the greater the intensity.
So on the 149 or whatever it is phone call, you'll just give us an update and. find
Yeah,
out some more info?
if it turns out to be something, I'll let you know.
Yeah,
Okay.
please do.
Otherwise, it might just be mistaken identity.
Okay.
Do we know why it was held up for as long as? The rumor I heard was that it was a state requirement,
No idea.
You mean the one across from Russo? You mean,
yeah, diagonally across from Russo.
Yeah.
right,
I
oh, the
don't- I-
turning lane. The state wanted to do
The
it.
state?
There was a
Yeah.
whole thing about that turning lane
They wanted to
there.
do some kind of little tiny roundabout calming thing or something like that too, but I don't know what's gonna happen there.
All right,
And speaking before
I
we
don't think
close,
that anything had to do with the Route 79 project, had to do with them not working for a while. I think it was just that maybe they were busy, the guys doing the site work were busy and they just, this is when they
This
could
is
come
from
back.
years ago, though, about the turning lane that they wanted there, so.
Okay.
What do you want?
Alright.
Oh, yeah.
Motion to adjourn?
Before that,
Oh,
Second.
sorry.
2 Bedford Street,
2 Bedford Street, yeah, no plan.
nothing yet, we keep
Nope.
hearing they're gonna,
No. We never, I thought, Bob, you were gonna try to get a copy of the plan from the planning board. Kathy maybe can get us I just wanted to see.
Actually, not to pass the buck, but I asked Lori about it and I haven't seen her, so she may have. I'll look
I'm
into it.
feeling that they told the planning board they've been approved by Concom, but that wasn't on the plan you're looking at. I just wanna make sure
Right,
that.
Concom approved.
The other,
whole
a
plan.
different plan. So if they're telling you they're approved by Concom, they were on a different plan, not on the plan you're looking
Right.
at now. So I just wanna make sure that doesn't slide by and they start working over there.
Yeah, yep, no, we should
Okay.
definitely have that communication.
Okay. Okay,
did we?
all in favor?
Did we vote?
got a motion on
We
the
had a
floor.
motion in a second.
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?